Let's talk about beef ribs. Actually, let's talk about plate ribs and chuck ribs specifically. Both plate ribs and chuck ribs are delicious, and in this video we're cooking both of them up and explaining what the difference is between the two. For some help here, I asked my friend Marco Aguilar from Aguilar's Meat Market to get me a rack of plate ribs and cut it into 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch thickness. Yep, the same Marco from my first big video about beef ribs titled Beef Fest. Y'all go check out that one too for an even more detailed explanation. Now, plate ribs are always cut with 3 bones. They are also known as 123A ribs, aka dino or monster ribs, and when cut across the bone to the desired thickness, you wind up with these. Often, when sliced this way, they are called flanking ribs, and in South Texas, they're also called loaded ribs or tablitas when cut thinner, about 1/4 inch. Plate ribs are also very well marbled and render incredible flavor due to the fat content. And they're a bit more expensive too. Now, when cut long ways in between the bones, they are called short ribs. Next, I asked Marco for a rack of chuck ribs and for them to be cut into 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch thickness too. Chuck ribs always have 4 bones that are smaller in diameter than plate ribs. They're commonly called hotel ribs, and they're also called tablitas as well. Chuck ribs are leaner, softer, and also cook a little bit quicker than the plate ribs. Now, before we jump in, keep this in mind. Different regions, meat markets, and butchers may call them something different or cut them different than you see in this video, but this is how these beef ribs are cut up and marketed down here in South Texas. So if the cuts of beef ribs you see here are called something different where you're from, let me know in the comments down below, and let's keep the beef rib conversation going. Now let's get fired up and
let's cook up some big old flanking style, some short ribs. No, let's cook some chuck ribs. Heck, let's cook them all. Let's take a look at the 2 most popular ones here in South Texas that sell the most. Now, when they're cut very thin like these, it's called a tablita. Sometimes it's called a hotel rib. All these ribs here came off of one big rack. This is the way I usually like to get my monster ribs. Once again, look at how marbled they are. You can see that the bone is a lot longer and it's a little bit thicker and a little bit denser. But the main thing is that they're super duper marbled. These are very fatty, very juicy. This rack looked like this rack first. Now, I seasoned these up a little while ago. I'm gonna cook these as well. Now, these have a rounder bone. If you look close, you can see that the bone is much smaller, a little bit more round. It comes from a different part of the cow. One of these comes from the higher up on the rib cage, the other one comes lower on the rib cage. And then these are also chuck ribs, but you can see here that they have very little marbling. Now, what I'd like to know is, which ones do you like the best? Which one do you like to cook the most? These are also less expensive, by the way. These are very popular in the restaurant as a whole big rack. You can ask your butcher for the whole rack and have them cut them to the size that you like. That's what I usually do. I usually like them a little bit thicker, just like these. We'll be seasoning everything today with the WOW seasoning from American Pitmaster Company. This seasoning was originally created for steaks, fajitas, anything beef. You don't have to get too heavy on these because the meat's pretty thin, so you don't want the salt to shine through too much. You want to taste the meat. All right, let's get fired up. Let's go outside and cook some ribs. Vámonos! All right, my friends, let's get these big beef ribs on here. Or should I say the little ribs? I'm gonna lay them all down here. 3 bone ribs on this side, what we call the loaded ribs. Chuck ribs on this side. Ooh, can you hear that sizzle? Doesn't that sound amazing? I'm gonna lay these right here, more or less in the middle. And what I'll do in a little while, I'm gonna come back in about 20 minutes and flip everything over, and these I'm just gonna let them ride for at least an hour, and then I'm gonna rotate them 180 degrees. They should be just right. All right, friends, it's been a solid 25 minutes. We're gonna take a look at these ribs. Right here at the top of these ribs here, especially, you can see, watch how they're gonna drip juice. Look at that. That's why I encourage people to do the flippity flip. You wanna flip your steaks, your fajitas, and even ribs like this before all that moisture comes to the top and starts to evaporate and it's gone. Flip them a little bit more often so that you can retain more moisture inside the meat. All right, my friend, it's been right around 45 minutes. These, I love the smoke. I'm gonna flip these over one more time. These also, these big thicker ones. These smaller ones, they're pretty much done, so I'm gonna take them out and wrap them. And we're just gonna set them back in here. And I'm gonna do the same with these here. That'll be good. I'm gonna leave those on about maybe 10 minutes, take them out completely. Just want them to soften up a little bit more. Meantime, quality control. Here you go, babe. I love gnawing on these bones. All right, friends. I brought my little pan out here. Ouch, that's hot. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these in just a moment. They've got a beautiful color. They look really, really nice. All right, friends, we'll be back in a little while. I'm gonna take these, put them in my camera, and keep them warm until the other ribs turn out. All right, my barbecue loving friends. I've had them out for about 5 or 8 minutes. This says an hour and 11 minutes. So really, when they're 1/4 inch, they cook really fast. When they're a little bit thicker, it's a little bit longer, but not that much. It was only an hour total. So we have our chuck ribs, 4 bones, and we have the loaded ribs, which are 3 bones. Beautiful ribs, beautiful color. They smell fantastic. We're gonna really enjoy a bite of these. What we like to do here is we just cut in between the bones like that. Take a big bite. There's a little piece of fat here on the very edge. I'm gonna cut that off. That looks nice. Look at that little smoke ring right there. That's gonna be good. Good, 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 good. Mmm. Mmm. That's a really good little beef rib. Now another thing you can do, which I do sometimes, I'll just cut along the bones here, just like that. And I have a nice big long strip. You can cut it in half, or you can cut it into thinner long slivers and just throw them in your taco with a little salsa. You can also put a little barbecue sauce on there or whatever you like. I know a lot of people say good barbecue don't need no sauce, but it's not about need, it's about what you like. If you like barbecue sauce, put it on there, it's okay. All right, let's cut up one of these loaded ribs. If you look here, you can see that it has quite a bit more oil. This looks really, really nice and pretty. Just a good looking piece of meat right there. Mmm, 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 mmm. Wow. That is really good. All right, friends, now let's compare the 2 bones from both of these ribs. All right, you can see right there how big difference in the size of the bones and the shape of the bones. Big, big difference. Both of them were delicious, but let me tell you, I tried the chuck rib first because remember, that one didn't have as much marbling, so I knew it was not gonna be as juicy, as soft and succulent as the loaded rib. It is soft, so you probably wanna cook the chuck rib a little bit less time than the loaded rib, which is the plate rib. When you have those little tablitas, let's see what one of those look like. Matter of fact, they were about 1/4 inch when we put them on the grill. They're super thin now. You can still see the difference in the bones between the 2 of them. They're super thin, they're still moist, super good. Now it might look a little dried out, but check this out. Look at that moist, super juicy goodness. It's still fantastic. Mmm. Ooh. Ooh, that's good. All right, now this is the chuck rib. One of the reasons people love to cook them super thin like this is because they're done quick. The other reason is they get a nice, delicious Maillard reaction crust on the outside. Look at that. Mmm. Very good. Ooh, that's good. Friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to make it for a long time, just to put these 2 side by side, because there is a lot of confusion on what a loaded rib is, what a hotel rib is, what a flanking rib is, what a tablita is. Either one of these can be called the same thing, depending on where you're at. If you're interested in our APC barbecue rubs, you can go to pitmaster.us. If you want to up your barbecue game, go to pitmasterclass.us and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Keep the smoke light, make it work. Boom! Boom! Cut!
Wait a minute, and your vegetables?
What about the vegetables? My wife says the vegetables. Who needs vegetables when you have these amazing ribs here? We don't need no vegetables. Mmm, good. Hold on, puppy dog. My puppy dog's down there like, where's my bone? All right, said I'd be back in a couple of minutes. Today is Miller High Life Day, and so now we've got about an hour's worth of cooking. That's maybe 2 beers, maybe 3, I don't know, we'll see. Cheers, my friends. Look at that wow rib right there. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, I better close it up, it's getting hot. All right.